It all began with a vision for progress, of bustling cities and busy markets, of steam and churning wheels, of distant lands and trade networks. An expanding empire of unlimited possibilities. The world has never been so vast.
Welcome to the world of Anno 1800. The award-winning latest title of the Anno series is soon coming to Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5, putting you in charge of building beautiful cities, managing the game's complex economic simulation, and expanding your empire to new regions in both single and multiplayer mode.
For the first time in over 24 years, the full Anno base game experience will be available on consoles, developed by the very same Anno veteran team that has worked on the series for years. Thanks to their expertise, we were able to redesign all menus and buttons to make them custom fit for controller input.
In addition, all icons and text were resized to better suit the increased distance between you and your TV screens. City building couch play has never looked better.
You will also profit from the 4 years of free game updates of Anno 1800's PC version, with the console version including all the improvements and quality of life features we previously released. And if you want to beautify your empire even further, here's good news. We're also bringing all cosmetic DLCs to console.
Standing on the cusp of a new era. How the world will remember your name, well, that's up to you.
Hello everyone, welcome to this Anno 1800 stream, or more precisely, as you've seen in the trailer just right now, the stream for the Anno 1800 console edition. So yeah, this is going to be the next 60 minutes of the stream. We're talking about the console edition. We show you first gameplay of the console edition. And if I say we, that's me, Oliver, the community developer for Anno 1800.
And hi, I am Andrea Fricke, the lead game designer on the console edition.
Yeah, and there's also me. Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa, the Junior International Product Manager for Anno 1800.
Yeah, so I guess we don't want to talk too much before we actually start right into the game. So and convince you with the gameplay. So why not just jump right in and show you what Anno is, what the first steps in Anno are. And yeah, Andrea, you take the wheel of our Anno ship today.
Yeah, let's take the gamepad even. And yeah, so we wanted to show you a little bit what a regular Anno game starts like. And it starts with an island and building a city. So yeah, in an Anno game, it's about attracting residents and fellow population to your islands and to make them happy and to satisfy their needs. So we start with a marketplace and we're connecting it with our trading post here. And then let's build some residences where our people can live in. So I'm just going to do this here real quick and let's look a little bit at what it's going to look like. So I'm building some residences here. I can build a lot at the same time. And then of course also they need a street connection. And so let's give them the lovely street. And here is one in the middle that can't be reached by a city. Let's move it out here.
And if people are watching who played the PC version, this is one of the things what I first noticed when I played the console version for the first time was that, wait, I can now just tell the game to just build a street around the building block.
Yeah,
that's so convenient. Just one click, one button press, and then there's a street around the block, and I don't have to do it manually. On PC, but on the console, it's super convenient. And you're building so many streets in Anno.
Yeah,
everything you build in the game needs a street connection, like for logistics.
Yeah. The item buildings don't need one. The town hall.
Fair, but as a general rule, I think if you say, well, if you're new to Anno, I think Meta makes sure to build a street connection to everything just to be on the safe side. Otherwise, they'll start complaining about not having a road to the marketplace or the next trading post or these kind of things.
Yeah. So let's look at what you actually have to do here in the game for your residents. That's the main source of your driver. What do your residents want? So here we're selecting residents and we see that they have certain needs. So they want access to a marketplace, that's there. And they also want fish, but that's only half there, so this bar is half empty. So let's look at improving that in a second. And more in the future, they will want work clothes, but as we see here, this only gets unlocked with more and more farmers that you attract. And this number is already rising. So let's look at how to do that. So we want, fish and work clothes. So in our construction menu here, we can select the fishery. Of course, it needs to go close to the harbor, and we already see that it is built with this blue outline. That's because I don't actually have enough construction material.
Building too many houses.
Yeah, we will fix that in a second. But I can pre-plan this, and I can then just finalize the blueprint later on. Okay, so we need construction material. If we look into the upper right-hand corner of the screen, we see there that we have 0 timber and 0 steel beams. So let's do something about that. Timber is the most important construction material that you have. Yeah, and what do we need? We need a lumberjack and a sawmill. This we can see on the right. These are the 2 buildings that belong to producing this good. Let's give the lumberjack a lot of space for trees, and the sawmill just gets close to it. Let's directly build a second one here. And then, of course, again, as Olli said, we need streets. Let's give them a lovely street so that the transport carts that transport the goods from A to B, don't have to walk across the meadow, because they won't. Everything really needs a street. And now we already see that the transport carts are going. Yeah, so they are walking now and carrying goods. Let's look at that. If we select it here, we see where they are going. They are already going to the trading post and delivering the logs there. And then they will also deliver them to the sawmill, so that the sawmill, as we see here, can turn the logs, here on the left, the wood, into timber to actually be able to build with it.
And with that, we already have like the core loops, like the very, like of Anno A, you have your population and the needs that they have. They are still simple right now because it's just the farmer population tier, and there are multiple more. Like if you upgrade later, we'll talk about this in a bit, I think, and the needs that you need to fulfill for them. And then obviously your production chains. Some of them need an area here, like here, for growing forests, for example, and others are like just single production buildings. We just need construction space on somewhere in the island.
So I unloaded right now some timber that was still on my ship to my island, so that we have a little bit of a head start. Now in the top right we see, now we got 49 units or tons of timber. So I finalized here the blueprint of this fishery, and now we can also see that, finally the fisher can go and fish for some fish, so that the need in turn of my residents will get fulfilled.
Greener on the other side.
Andrea, they are very unhappy. If I look at the right-hand corner, they're not very happy right now.
True. So here in this info panel on the right side of a building, we can see that there's a tab. So we have the basic needs, but here we also have the happiness needs. And here we can see that, for example, there are different happiness needs. For example, they want a pub and they want some schnapps. So we can also build that. Let's look at that right now. So the next thing that we wanted to do is first the work clothes, because
the pub.
The pub. Maybe the pub. Maybe we should improve the happiness of our residents first.
Actually, that's really quick to implement, because this is just a public service. So this is a building that is kind of open 24/7. So it's just running all the time. Whereas, the other goods like the fish or the working clothes, there's a production chain tied to it and a cycle where they have to produce the input or the output good. And so this is more consumable. So this will always be reduced when your population really consume this need. But the pub, it's just running all the time. And here we already see, the pub need is fulfilled. It brought us plus 12 happiness. So at least they are content. It's still not happy.
But the frown is like, it's not upside down yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there slowly.
Then let's take a more precise look at how you build and what you have to look at, and also what we did to port the UI and the UX. So let's look at the working clothes. So this is the icon. Let's memorize it. We are on the construction menu, and here we see this icon. And what we already see is that the construction menu is laid out completely different. So now it's a radial menu. And with the left stick, you can point at all of the individual buildings and select them. And let's do that. And now we see at the right-hand side, we have all of the information of the building that we're currently selecting. So right now we're looking at the sheep farm. Let's look at the right side of the screen, and we see that it's going to produce wool, namely every 30 seconds, 1 unit. Then we have below that the construction cost, it's money and timber, and there's also maintenance costs, so they are just running all the time, and that is money and workforce, so the farmer workforce, because actually, yeah, your farmers are working in this building.
Yep.
And later on we will find buildings that need a different workforce. Yeah. So let's place the sheep farm maybe here. And then we see that it also needs sheep folds. So it says provides an area for livestock to graze in, and we need 3 of them. So let's also put them here.
And they're automatically selected, basically. So if you place it down, you immediately switch to the sheepfold and can immediately place it, so you don't have to like switch to a different menu and then click on those first. So this is like really, you can set it up very quickly, basically.
Also very convenient.
Yeah.
For a better flow.
And also what was very important is to increase the visible feedback of what you can build and where for the new couch distance.
Yes.
Before we could always know that players are sitting in front of their desk quite close to the monitor. But now, yeah, everything has to be much better visible. So the text has to be larger, the icons need to be larger. But here we already see that this running line, this dashed line around the module, we added that, and this is quite strong. And you can even see it when you zoom it out, when you zoom out a lot.
Also, I noticed that, for example, the colors of the blueprints, they're much more popping than on PC. So lots of these things, when you notice, if you're sitting in front of the screen like just a few centimeters, you have different needs than if you sit like this kind of distance, like we are also sitting right now, like we're like, what is it, 1.5 meters, 2 meters, something from the PC, from the TV. Yeah. Then it's like, it's a...
Yeah. So now we've built the sheep farm, but on the right-hand side we see that another building belongs to it. So we have this arrow, something that comes out of the sheep farm needs to go into these framework knitters. And we see, they make work clothes also every 30 seconds. That's the cycle time. And it has different construction costs and also different maintenance costs. So let's put it directly next to it. And now we see... if we look at it here, that the sheep farm is already starting to process the goods. Its current process is like 70–80%. So the first ton will soon come out of it. Let's check that out when that happens.
Yeah, and if you after that hover over the framework knitters and click on it, you will see a small disclaimer that there is no warehouse in range. So one of the most important things that you need to do in Anno is connecting your production chains with warehouses, so you can store the goods that you're producing.
Peddlers say there's nowhere to
In the
take
beginning, this disclaimer wasn't shown because our port is also working as a warehouse, which is very convenient, especially for timber production.
Right, so there we needed it. We didn't need it because they were close enough to the trading post.
Yeah, but you can see the green lines on the street. This gives you the street range. So in this case, it's just barely, it just doesn't 1 tile away from the harbor.
But they're not going to throw your stuff around. So they are decent transport people. So let's just give them a warehouse. We have here this tools menu where you can grab a lot of tools that you need quite often and quickly. Instead of having to search it in the larger construction menu. So here we have very common buildings, like the farmer residence and the warehouse. On the other side, we have streets that you also need all the time. And here we have the tools like moving something around or demolishing something. So this is always where you get it. And this is in the default configuration, for example, on the left trigger here on an Xbox controller. And on the PlayStation controller, it would be then L2. So let's give them finally the warehouse, and now they also don't complain anymore. Everything is going good, and we see directly they're going from one house directly to their neighbor and unloading the work clothes there.
So this is then the last need of the farmers that we're fulfilling now?
Yeah, let's check. This is the last main need. Yes, that's the last basic need. And if we already look at, where do we want to go, right? We want to, in the end, we want to upgrade farmers to the next civilization level. This would be done here, upgrade residence. And we see, why doesn't it work right now? Because right now there are only 8 out of 10 people living in there, but a house needs to be full in order for you to be able to upgrade it. It also says like there, missing residents 2. And if we again go with the D-pad to the working clothes, we see there, the supply effect is that I would get +2 farmers. I just don't have the 2 of them yet. takes a little bit of time until the need really settles in, and until they're all really took some of the working clothes, kind of, and then at some point it's going to be 100%, and then I can really upgrade the house and advance to the next civilization level and really make my city more advanced and amazing, right?
Yeah, grow it. I mean, that's one of the key elements, right? You're ever growing your settlement. Right now, we are only on one island, and we only covered, like, if you look at how big the island is in comparison, how small our settlement is, there's plenty of space left. You will need some for the industry, but obviously also for your city, and there's a lot of space left.
Yeah.
So eventually, you will not only, like, you will fill that whole island with settlements or with industry or a mix of both, and eventually, like, look for new islands, and we'll talk about that in a bit, and also settle those. So. There are multiple of these population tiers, but they're almost there.
Yeah.
The need is almost fulfilled.
And the one thing that we can also see here is that for upgrading, you don't need to fulfill all needs. It's you just have to fulfill the basic needs, because the happiness needs, as we can see here, they only, in quotation marks, bring you happiness and coins. That can be a bit different in every case, but you can really skip them or decide to do them later if you want to. You really don't need that to upgrade your population to the next tier. Then let's, wait a second, then let's fast forward the game a little bit until the people have moved in. So I could directly change the game speed right now. So even if I have my building selected, I can change the game speed. Here, if you look at the top left corner of the game, that's where I can change the game speed.
You know, one of those things is when you change the game speed and then suddenly the city burns down because you're looking at something else. Just noticed because we didn't build a firefighters yet.
Yeah.
And this is one of those typical things where, like, I'll do something else now and I come back to that settlement later, and then you come back like, oh, right, I forgot to build that fire station.
Because we have one last building here that we didn't build, the fire station. Let's do that. Let's put it down. And now, as soon as the firefighters are trained, so that takes a little bit of time, then they will automatically respond to fires in your city.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most important tips that you can give a new player. On the hand is always build a fire station, guys, believe me. You really need to do that. Also for your production chains, never forget to use the public service fire station.
Yeah, there's some production chains that are more prone to catching fire. Like, for example, anything that has to do with heavy industry, where actually fires are, that they obviously catching more fire than your knitters down there or the farms. You know, these are different.
But then let's upgrade our first farmer house, and this is the first, I think, big milestone in your game when you will start a new game. Let's press the button, and we see now that we have reached the age of industrialization. And we have here the first worker house. Also very nice to look at. There's really always something going on in your city. There's so many people and animals running around. That's really amazing. And the worker also greets us. Wonderful. Let's house them. And let's look at what the game is like a little bit further ahead, right?
Yeah, so we've prepared a second, like another save game, slightly more advanced one, so we can switch to that one. And in the meantime, while we'll do that, I guess if there's any questions, any points that we can already address at this early stage, then...
Yes, if you have any questions, then just drop it in the chat and we will have a look at it and, of course, try to answer it.
How's everyone in the chat? The chat happy?
Yeah, I think people are already pretty excited about the console game. I just see a comment, the game looks beautiful. Thank you a lot.
Wonderful. And especially the menus that we are seeing right now. The colleagues have been working on that after this version was grabbed, so it's still going to look much better even with that version. So everything is already going up a lot of notches. Yeah,
that is true.
I think it's worth noting that even though we have the privilege of showing console version today, obviously it was a effort that the team has put in the last year.
A little bit more, yeah. Yeah.
And I know they're watching, so I hope you're happy. You're performing well here.
Shout out to Mainz.
So yeah, this has been a great effort and lots of, like you said, lots of work that went into so many elements, because I've said something that works on a PC doesn't necessarily work just as well on a console.
Yeah.
When it comes to like simple things like not simple, but like the straightforward things like how you control it. Like a gamepad just functions so completely different, and the distance between, and there were a lot more. And I think there's something we can talk about, and like not today, but in the future, about like some of the other things we had to look into for the console version. But there's a lot of work went into this. Lots of it was also exciting, right?
Yeah.
As you, someone who like directly worked on it, well,
Yeah.
like was it interesting to like do something completely different from like the PC version that you used to work on the previous years?
Yes, definitely. So that was my first console project, and it was super interesting because it's so challenging in the beginning. Think, I mean, of course, left stick camera and movement, and right stick rotating and zooming and so on. Yeah, of course, right? But still, all of these thoughts of, from which context of the game do you want to reach what other feature the most often and the most very quick, that and what actions do you need to be able to do at the same times and so on, and what can we exclude and what is just possible in different situation. And for example, if you look at the HUD, all of the menus around the screen, in the PC version, you point with your mouse on something and then you open the menu.
Yeah.
How do we do that there? We don't want to have just like a crosshair that you control with the left stick. We wanted to have a more high fidelity interaction principle. So we also had to put all of these management menus somewhere else that you would usually call from clicking on a button that is in the HUD somewhere. So that was super exciting, really.
Yeah. I have a question from the chat, and actually, people are asking if there will be co-op multiplayer. And the good news is it will be. So if you have your friends and everybody owns either a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or S, then you're obviously going to play together, right?
Yeah.
So that
you-
would be really cool.
Yeah, and then you can control the same island, the same company at the same time, and really work together. One person can do the building, the other person can maybe play some quests or trade a little bit. That's really wonderful to split up the tasks in the game and really help each other out, and to be much more efficient and good at the game.
And it's up to 4 people per team.
Yes.
So you can split the tasks. At the beginning, there's not much to do, but you will notice that later in the game, things will get very busy. So having like 3 other people to help you out and split tasks between the 4 of you, that can actually be quite useful later on.
Yeah, that's
Totally,
true.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Then also there are several people asking about crossplay. So yes, crossplay is available. You can play your Xbox save on your PlayStation. So that is not a problem. However, you cannot play your console save on PC. Okay. Then I don't know, should we move on with
Depends,
the
if there are lots of questions, we can take a moment. Otherwise, I think we can also pick them during the gameplay.
Yeah.
I would say let's go on with the gameplay.
Okay.
Alright.
Cool. So we have loaded a different save game, and we see Ollie has built a much bigger and more awesome-looking city. So the harbor got a lot bigger with a lot of buildings there. We have more fields here. We see potato fields, and we have a lot of workers. And there's a church here in the middle. This is also something that we can see that's super cool. And let's look at a different aspect of the game, namely expansion. So why would you go to a second island? Let's check again any worker residence, because as we said in the beginning, the drive mostly comes from making your population happy. So checking every now and then what they need is really the best idea list for, hey, what could I do next? So we see that the basic needs are all fine, everything is green, wonderful. But here in the happiness needs, and they are also only content. We want happy farmers and happy workers, right? There's really no beer at all. So let's try to build that, right? Let's try to produce some beer. So we go again into the construction menu. And we see right now at the bottom, so now that we have multiple tabs here. So the first tab that we already saw before, the farmers, that is one here. But we now also unlock the worker tab. So you have a lot of new buildings, right? Everything unfolds when you play yourself, of course, over time, and you're not overwhelmed with so much at once. And we find the beer here. Let's look at that. And we will see that one of the buildings that we need for is the hops farm. But at the bottom, we see an interesting red warning sign, missing fertility. So this island doesn't have hops fertility. If we see the list of fertilities also in the top right, under the construction materials. So there we see this potato icon and grain and red pepper. Yeah, but the hops icon is missing there. So we need to find a second island. So how do we go there? By foot?
Depends. I mean, if you, how good your swimming is, but I would take a ship for the time.
Let's take a ship. All aboard the ship, ahoy, and so on. So this is one of your ships. And yeah, you give it sailing commands with the X button on an Xbox. On the PlayStation controller, it would be the square. And let's sail around a little bit. And we will look a little bit where an island could be. I'm going here a little bit into the fog of war. And yeah, so let's look a little bit how exploration works. So yeah, we see here right now that the ship is advancing into the distance, and we can really spend a nice time to look at it and check what is going on here, and also just maybe lean back and enjoy a little bit the look of it. Oh, it went down.
I will hold that so you can play with your controller.
That sounds better. Yeah. So where was my ship? Let's reset the camera.
Somewhere there.
Yeah. So I think there should.
I've seen some mountains when you switch the camera, when you move the camera a bit. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed, there should be an island somewhere here.
Yeah. So we're advancing really here into the unknown, and let's try to see if we find something. Ah, there's an island. Okay, so we found a new island here, and let's settle on it. We need to go close to a beach in order to do that.
And look, it has hops.
Yeah, right. So in the top right, we see that there's actually... Let's check my microphone real quick. Sorry, wait a second. Does it still look okay? Yeah, okay. We're gonna switch the battery or so. Yeah, so to settle an island, we need to go close to a beach. Let's do that here. This island has hops, as we see in the top right. There's also a little icon for grapes. And now we have these blueprint, or this little ghost here of a trading post. We're just selecting that, and then we can build the trading post. And now we have officially settled a new island. Wonderful.
Yay.
Yeah.
You'll do that many more times.
Yes.
Throughout your
totally.
your gameplay.
Yeah, and so now we can build these hops farms on here. So we now don't have this warning anymore. That's super satisfying, right? Let's directly build one. Yeah, this is a farm which needs individual farm fields. This works like so. For example, let's just build one for now. I'm still playing on triple speed. Oh, wow. Yeah, that happens, right?
This is the thing where I said earlier, if you do that and forget the fire station, this is one of those cases where your city burns down.
Yeah. We also need to attract some residents here, since we do need people that are working here, really. So let's give them again a marketplace and build some houses. We actually don't need so many. If it's really just going to be a hops farm, that's going to be mostly, probably really all right. Are we just missing a... no, okay, now of course the warehouse is too far away. But let's just move it somewhere else, right? So I'm just going to move it, like this. Now I just lost some farm fields. Yeah. Let's rebuild the farm fields. Okay, 96. Yeah, like this. Okay. And so now, after a lot more people are moving in, then it's going to work out, and I am really already producing hops that I can take back to my other island. Yeah, let's fix the stuff here.
And yeah, you see at the top of the screen is the workforce that you've talked about. So this is one of the things that's not just population, which is on the left side in the menu, but workforce is needed for every production building that you have in the game. You need the workforce. So as you shown in the construction menu, it shows you immediately like, okay, how many workers do I need, and of which kind of workers. And yeah, that's why like you can't settle an island at the beginning, at least, without having a settlement to support whatever production you're building there.
Okay, cool. Do you still need to hold the microphone?
It's
you poor Lisa. Sorry.
It's good, it's good.
Yeah. Okay, but then let's look at how you're actually going to transfer the goods from between your islands, because of course you shouldn't have to do that manually every single time, right? So we actually can set up a route that will do that automatically. As we touched on before already, so all of these management menus, you can access them now also in a big radial menu. So you have a lot of different things here. Let's go here to the routes. And let's create a new route, and namely a trade route, because we want to ship and transfer goods between our islands. Okay, what are we supposed to do first? We have to select at least 2 islands. So we want to go from our old island to the second island. Oh wow, I'm not going to try to pronounce that name, but from Mainz to this other island, right? And now we are pressing the tab to go to the second menu here. Okay, so what are we doing now? We have to choose a good to load and unload, as it says on the top left. So from Mainz, I think it would actually make sense if we bring some goods from our old island to the new island, because then this island doesn't need to work so hard, right?
Yeah, so they can focus on producing hops, and we don't need the workforce to build up fish again and clothes and all that thing. So we can focus on a few.
Let's just share the stuff that we're already producing. So we're loading fish. Where to unload it? Of course, in our second island. Let's maybe bring something else. What else could we bring? Let's maybe also bring these work clothes here. We are also going to say, hey, we want to unload it here. And so as soon as the second island will produce hops, of course, that's we want to take back to our first island. So we will say here, as soon as you have more, it's going to come over time. 1 ton, of course, is not so much, of course. We're going to load the hops. And where do we want to unload it? We want to unload it back in Mainz. Wonderful. So that is almost a functional trade route. What is missing? We need to add at least 1 ship to this route. So
good thing we have some.
Yeah, right? Did you prepare
almost
that?
Almost as if it's prepared that.
Oh my God. Yeah, we have some ships here that are even empty. Let's choose the early bird, right? The early bird catches the worm. And now everything is good. We see check marks all the way. Let's save and close. And now we can even look where the channel is. Let's check where it is. Something is already moving. So we see here the early bird frigate is already is on the route of our fish, and is now automatically going to go always back and forth and trying to bring the goods from A to B.
Now you can actually show one of my other favorites of the console version, which is the region map and the switching between islands, because this is one of the things where, like, instead of scrolling from one island to the other, I love the fact that you can just hop between islands. Like
Yeah, so if you don't have anything selected and you press D-pad up, you see this little reminder there next to the minimap in the bottom left corner. And when you press D-pad up, now we're on the region map. And on this map, of course, if you discover a little bit more, you will see all of the region in a very quick glance. And if you just press A anywhere, you will just teleport there. So now I've just jumped to my other map. And if, for example, let's pick our flagship here. If I want to, for example, discover a place that is super far away, I go to the region map. Let's, for example, say I want to discover the north tip of my region, and that's where I want to go. Now I'm just going to press X because I still have the ship selected. And yeah, now I have sent the ship here.
Yeah,
that's super cool.
Very convenient.
And I'm pretty sure we'll find some interesting things for while the ship is busy there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, do we want to take a look at some other production buildings still, or what other kinds of... Because we've talked a lot about, okay, we produced obviously wood, but everything else was all needs for your population. But there's also like lots of construction material and other materials that are not necessarily consumed by population, but are simply needed to advance in the game. Yeah. And one of the things we've already touched on is steel beams.
Yes. Yeah. So let's search in which area did you build that up. That looks like it. Yeah. So here we see the corner of the steel beam production. This is one of the construction materials. In the top right, we see it at as the second construction material, where we currently have a whopping 536 tons of. And if we want to get an overview first over how this production chain looks like, let's look at the construction menu. So that's what it looks like. You're starting with that's iron and then charcoal. Then you turn it into these steel blocks, and then they have to be turned into steel beams. So that's what this chain looks like. That's a quite demanding chain, especially on the workforce. Yeah. So that's really a moment when you might see, oh my God, so many people need to work there, and I don't have so many. I have to get more workers.
But it's also one of the elements of Anno where sometimes you don't have to build everything as soon as it pops up. So sometimes you get new productions needs as well as construction materials like now steel beams unlock much earlier than you may need them. So it's worth simply keep expanding your population, get more workforce, make sure your income is stable. Ours currently isn't stable at all.
No, cash is okay, but balance is not so good.
Yeah, so to get these things in order, and then if this is working, then you can be like, okay, let's now start producing steel beams, for example, because
Yeah.
Actually, a very interesting question here.
Yeah, tell us.
Does resources deplete if you mine the mountains?
No, so the mines are endless. The iron mine that we looked at here right now, it's never ending. It's never gonna go empty. Yeah.
very convenient.
Yeah. And so we already looked at the iron mine. This is the charcoal kiln that makes coal from burning trees. And then they have to bring these two things into the furnace, where we see here again on the left side, we have the two input goods, iron and coal. And they have their little own storage, which you can look at here. Like that's what they can store temporarily to produce it, to make something out of it. And they will turn it into steel. And right now they're actually not working because I'm already at full steel. The whole island, I just can store 600 of that and I already have that. So of course they can't close the door anymore. The output storage is so full that it wouldn't make sense and they couldn't fit anything anymore to produce more of it. And then the final building, that is here the steel works, where we see that the steel is turned into steel beams.
You also see that the building is significantly larger than any other production buildings we've built so far.
Yeah.
So of course a farm will need a lot of space with the farm fields, like the grain farms, for example, we have on this island, but also the production buildings will significantly increase in size, and so you need that space on your islands, and that's why also one of the reasons you might need to expand.
Yeah.
Also, as you see, the incident chances increasingly higher than of a regular building. This is one of those cases. That's why there is a fire station.
Yeah, that's not by
nearby.
chance. Yeah.
When you look at the pictures.
Yeah. And if we look at the minimap, we see some new colors there. Should we check it out?
Yeah,
Sure, let's take a look.
Okay, so we've discovered somebody. So this is the island named Jollyinge by Bente Jorgensen. So Bente is one of the rival characters that you can add to your game. And to give you a little bit of a challenge and a little bit of a rival to compete against with, you can, but war is not necessary, so especially Bente, she's a super peaceful character. You really have to make her very angry in order for her to declare war. No, with Bente you're really gonna have a very peaceful game, as with a lot of our other characters. So you can fight them if you want to, but you really don't have to.
Yeah, you can pick and choose what kind of characters you want to have in the game. So if you start anew, you better... Bente is a good starting character. She's very nice. She helps you if you have something. She cares about it. And then there are other NPCs, other characters who are like, they just want to make you suffer very quickly. There are some who have some level of infamy on the Anno community at this point, I think, with their own jokes and stories.
Yeah. But here we see, for example, already how Bente builds. So if you want to get some inspiration at any point for how to decorate your cities, for example, because that's also something that you can do. We see here, for example, Bente put a statue in the middle of this little residential block that looks very nice. Yeah, you can just look what the other characters are building like, and she already built a grain farm here. And then we even have another character here. They are on the west a little bit, and that is Princess Qing with Auspicious Isle. That's the name that she gave to her island, and she's also very calm, very polite, and very interested character who is super interested in your ways and how you are doing things, and really see that she's also building in a very structured way and very humble.
But you touched on an interesting thing before we move on. I think the decoration.
Yes.
Because as much as like increasing population and having building even more industry and advancing is one of the obviously key elements of Anno, something that has always been one of the player loved features for certain groups of our players, at least, is what we just at this point call beauty building. Yeah. Which is just making things not just functional but also beautiful. I tried it a little bit by plotting down some parks and these kind of things. You can build much much more ornaments later on. Like you'll unlock more of them, and you can probably also build it much more beautiful than I did. But like this is one of the key things, and we really noticed that. And so there are quite a few ornaments that you have in the game
Yes.
that you can like plop down to, bring a bit of like green into your cities that just like don't have as much like strict forms in your city. It's not everything just blocks, but you can make it a bit like it
loosen
needs
it
more
up.
space, of
Yeah.
course. It's not the most efficient way of building anything, but like it makes your city like look very different. So depending on what your approach is, this can really like liven up your overall look of your islands.
That's definitely true. And by the way, Ollie, I really appreciate your beauty building efforts there.
Thank you.
You're really getting better at this.
Yeah, did you coach him?
Yeah, basically, I am no credits for
I
me
got a
there.
lot of pressure in previous streams, I think, on PC when I've had lots of complaints about my building efforts. So apparently this has slightly improved over the years.
Wonderful. That's good to hear. Yeah. So as we currently have, we recently have talked about the other characters. So you will also find traders if you play with the normal settings, but you can also switch off some of them off. You will also find traders here in the region that are buying some product that you might just want to buy because you're short on something. And all of the characters and even your own residents, they will also give you quests from time to time. So if you want to embark into little stories here and there, you can also play their quests and then really also have a quite varied kind of gameplay, because the other characters might ask you to fetch something from the water and sail somewhere super far away and to bring you something back, or to escort a ship, or to deliver you some goods where you really have to give some of your goods away. So that's also very cool that you can do that.
And you also learn a bit about the characters by, like, if you're NPC quests, like from other NPCs, you learn a bit about their habits and their preferences this way. So you learn a bit like how's Bente, what is she interested in, and these
Yeah.
kind of things.
A really cool thing about Bente, for example, is that she's so kind and sweet that she will ask you if she can settle an island.
Yes.
So you have to agree for her taking the
That's
space.
true.
So
Yeah, she's so nice and
Yeah.
so friendly. Wonderful. Should we get into some production statistics maybe again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta love the statistics.
Yeah, wonderful. So another tool that you have in the game is the statistics menu. It's again, of course, a management function. So if you look into the bottom right corner, how do we get to our management menus? You see it there. Let's press the Y button here. So this is our management wheel. And we did already look at the routes that we set up. And for example, here you can get information about your island.
Or the diplomacy menu. If you want to talk to Bente, or for example, then this is the place to go.
Yeah.
To get, for example, a trade agreement,
Yes.
or like
An alliance.
alliance with them later on. Yeah, this kind of thing.
Yeah. And here you find the statistics. So if you just point at the menu, you see some stats about your all of your islands summed up. But let's actually look into the menu. So here we already see we have a lot of stuff. So first we are right now on the production tab. So here you see everything about the production statistics of your game. So we see on the left here, for example, we can look through the production of a lot of different goods. So here we are on the fish, for example, and we see that we are producing 10 tons per minute and we're only consuming 8 tons per minute. So we have an excess of 2. That's okay. It doesn't hurt so much. I mean, you have an overproduction, and that can be the case while at some point your island storage goes full.
Or why balance goes down.
Yes.
If you produce too much, have too much production buildings, and not enough need for it actually at this moment, then you could have saved some maintenance costs basically.
Yes, but this is really the menu to look where if you have the feeling that you're producing too little or too much of something, then that's where you can look. For example, here we see that schnapps production is actually below the expected level. You are short on schnapps, but if we remember the beginning section, it's not a mandatory need, it's a happiness need. You can also get happiness from a lot of other sources, so if that's fine for you, you can leave it like that and get happiness from other sources, or also not care so much about it. So you can really pick and play your play style and what you're focusing on and what is important to you in the game or what isn't so important for you right now.
I think I know why, because I think 4 of them blew up, I think, right?
Oh, yeah, that looks very good. If we look at the right-hand side,
Talking about fire brigade and all that.
yeah, we see the list of all of our buildings that we could jump to, so that we directly see where they are. And yeah, this looks like a ruin, right? So let's go there. And we actually see, yeah, that's a ruin. So this blew up.
Looks like somebody forgot to place a fire station.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No, there is one. Look at it.
Okay, never mind.
It can still happen, but probably one exploded and the fire spread to another one,
Yeah.
and you didn't have enough firefighters or so to remove the fire and put it out quickly enough. Yeah, let's upgrade them, renovate them. Renovation 1, renovation 2, and the third one, and the fourth one.
Feels much better already.
Yes, let's check the statistics again. I don't know if it already elevated. Yes, right, now we are back in balance and even overproducing a little bit. That's wonderful. Right. What else do we have in the statistics menu? In the second tab, you can find details about your storage. But about what island is it, right? So on the left, we see that there's a little menu popping out, and with the D-pad left, we can bring it out, and we can see that we can look at the information either just for mines or just for the other name that is a bit hard to pronounce. And we already see in the background that there's a little bit of things switching back and forth. But if we want to just look at everything overall, of course, we press this wonderful big All Islands button here, and now we have really statistics across all of our islands.
It's worth noting at this point that you can, of course, rename your islands
Yes.
to whatever you want. So you don't need to. You're not starting always with mines, and you can also rename your unspeakable second island.
Yeah, but we have a lot of good, fun names in our generators, and we hope that you like them.
Yeah, but also for ships, they're also
Yes.
getting random names.
Yeah.
At first, yeah.
Here on finance, of course, everything is about money, income and expenses. Here you can check where you're maybe spending a bit too much money. Population here, of course, everything is centered around the population that you have, how happy they are, and how many houses you have. And the last tab is about items. So items is a very big feature of the game where you can optimize a lot of your productions or the happiness or the needs of your people. So this is a huge section, and you can check a lot of items, what you could get. You get them through quests, for example, but you can also buy some of them where you can really optimize and pinpoint and really go into detail with some of your aspects of the game and really make them better and customize them more.
Yeah, this is both for your production chains, like there are items specialized for your ships, there's items specialized for the production chains, and others for your population that increases their happiness, for example, or it makes your ship go faster, like with better sails or something like this.
Actually, there has been a really nice question. So, will there be something like Shift and U on console that you can upgrade multiple buildings?
Yes. Similarly, so if we go into the tools menu and pick the upgrade tool, so we see here all of the buildings that are ready to be upgraded, and now we can just drag a rectangle to upgrade multiple buildings at the same time. So for example, like so. And if we again look into the bottom right, we see that we can switch the mode of this upgrade tool. So right now we are upgrading only identical buildings. So if we look at this here, we see actually that only the worker residences are marked with this green tint. But if we switch the mode, upgrade all selected buildings. Yeah, now so even the wait a second, even the farmer buildings now went green. Yeah. And the next mode that we saw just now is about downgrading, and that has the same, only identical buildings or all buildings. Because every now and then it might also make sense to downgrade some residences. Yeah.
Also, just on that topic, obviously, we talked about the different population tiers, so there are multiple. This is now the third one, with the red houses, the artisans. They are the third population tier, and each of them they're getting more demanding. Like they need often like more goods, but also like good with more and longer production chains. So they're far more high effort when it comes to how much space they need, how much money they cost, and how many resources you need to pull in from various different islands to like put them together and then produce the. In this case, they want rum, they wanted theater. So it's also getting more sophisticated, and it's also a gradual travel through the 19th century, basically.
Yes.
So you start with the farmers, and you've seen it when we upgraded to workers. It said, age industrialization, these kind of things.
Yes.
And then later it gets much worse. The last tier are the investors. So this is really the high-end population. They have very they want champagne, as
Yes.
for example, and
cigars and chocolate.
yeah, and you also see the houses different. Like obviously, it's even from the top, when you zoomed out, you can directly see, okay, the red houses are the artisans, and
Yeah.
the black houses are the workers. So you get that overview right from the top, that you can distinguish how your cities are made up from different population tiers.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I think we showed
A lot.
a lot and most of the basics. So this is basically the first things you do in your Anno match. You build up your first settlement. You can satisfy some of the basic needs, and then you will need to expand eventually, like we did, to a second island at least, to produce in this case hops or other goods, and then maybe a third island and maybe a fourth island, and
Yeah.
then you meet NPCs you want to interact with. Some are nice, some may not be that nice.
Yeah, and maybe you can also expand your empire even into new regions.
In a new
Yeah.
region. Yeah, that's true. So this is something I think this is a bit out of scope for today's stream, but we can definitely tackle it at a later date. But yeah, so you've got the core loops of an Anno game and what you can expect. So let's talk a bit about the
How to get access to the game, maybe
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have seen your first gameplay impression, but now let's have a closer look at what you need to do in order to get access to the game. So we do have 2 different offers for Anno 1800 Console Edition. We have the standard offer and the deluxe edition. And let's just look first at the standard offer. So it will be sold digitally and physically for the price of €40 or dollars, and it includes the base game. And the cool thing here is that Anno 1800 has been out for quite a while on PC. And we did a couple of years of post-launch, and all the small improvements that we did to the base game over the years will be included in the console edition as well. So you really benefit from our learnings and our improvements for the game over the last years. And okay, yeah, then let's have a closer look at the deluxe edition. The deluxe edition will be sold digitally only and costs you €50 or dollars. It includes the base game as well as 3 cosmetic DLCs that you can see here as well. So first cosmetic DLC is the amusements pack that allows you to construct amusement parks in Anno 1800 cities, which is quite nice. It's really cool for your residents to be able to go on a roller coaster, for example.
Yeah.
So I can only say that this is a really nice improvement. Then we have the pedestrian zone pack that enables you to create candle systems and pedestrian zones in general. So yeah, your pedestrians can stroll around the pedestrian zones. It's really nice. It's a great addition to every city.
It's a really beautiful pack.
Yeah, it also comes with a shrubbery as well.
Yeah.
Bring more greenery in.
And now we get to my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah. I think this is also one of the most beloved Anno cosmetic DLCs in general. It's the Vibrant Cities pack. And this pack brings you 69 additional skins, including residence skins and marketplaces. And with this cosmetic pack, you will immediately increase the visual diversity of some of the buildings that you most use in the old world. It's really, really, really nice, and I can only recommend you to have a look at this package in detail. There are so many cool skins. They are themed, and they really improve the visuals of your city. And speaking of cosmetic DLCs, of course, starting day 1, meaning on March 16th, you will be able to purchase 9 cosmetic DLCs of Anno 1800 for the price of $5 or euros each. And if you want to have all this information that I just got or just gave out about the console version and the offers and the cosmetic DLCs at a single glance later on, be definitely sure to check out annogame.com/consoles after the stream, of course, because there is still more to cover here. We also have a special offer called the Early Adopter Offer. And this offer contains the Imperial Pack that you can see here on the left-hand side. And this gives you access to 3 exclusive items that you can see. It's the 1602 Memorial Ornament, the Imperial Command Ship skin, and the Imperial Train skin. The offer also includes the so-called Console Founder Pack. And this gives you access to 10 extra cosmetic bonuses, including 2 character portraits, 2 ornaments, 5 company logos, and 1 additional ship skin, which is a lot and will also definitely improve the visuals of your game. And in addition to that, you would also get access to the digital art book and the digital soundtrack. And this means that with the early adopter offer, both of those items are available for download and streaming. So let's get to an important question. How do you get access to the early adopter offer? So you can either get access through pre-ordering the game, which will be possible after the stream at 6 p.m., so very soon, or if you buy the game within 1 month after its release. This also means that the early adopter bonus will be distributed until April 16th if you buy the digital version. And once you get access to the digital offer, it will be unlocked automatically and directly be available in your inventory. So you have direct access to the items of this offer. If you buy the physical standard edition, you will get an inbox redeem key that you can use to activate the content. And this is available until stock lasts and not tied to April 16th. Okay.
And
Wonderful.
Worth noting, like if the whole information that Lisa just presented you, as you said, it's on annogame/consoles, annogame.com/consoles is the information, or on the anno-union.com on our website. There's also going to be an article from 6 p.m. onwards, or around 6 p.m., which also have the summary of all this information, so you can read up on that. And well, for obviously this has just been revealed. You said the console version is releasing on March 16th, so there's still almost exactly 2 months time until release. But we still got a few things planned until then, so you can expect more dev insights with a dev diary trailer, for example. And like general information from us, like a few more, like we touched on a few things, like hey, we redesigned the UI and these kind of things. So you can expect a few more information like this, like what work we had to put in to put the PC version on the console. And we also have some videos helping you like get started in the game. So we have the stream, of course, but we also have a dedicated like small video series about it and some like supporting content like this. And also important to note something we didn't show on the stream, but there's an in-game wiki, basically the Annopedia.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So Andrea, what is the Annopedia?
It's everything, of course. No, so there's really a lot of Annopedia stuff that you can read up on. So you can go into the pause menu, and then you can browse a vast catalog of topics to read up on. So it's super big. It's a lot of text. We have a lot of example pictures there. And if you, for example, want to know how island storage works, how happiness works, can you please give me an example of how to create a trade route, or what is influence bonuses. You can find all of this information and read up on it, and it's really a super good source. And there's also going to be a lot of situations from within the game where you directly, for this open menu that you have right now, you have a question, you can get a direct link to directly jump into the correct page of the Annopedia. So I'm super looking forward to how much this will be used and how all of the players will like it. And because that's the first time we did something like that, that's super cool. And so I hope there's not going to be any questions asked after reading and browsing the Annopedia.
After the Annopedia and the explanation videos, we hope we covered everything, but you're obviously always welcome to ask any questions, and we have lots of happy community members that are happy to answer any questions, I think, because we've been, I think, blessed with a very happy and supporting, nice community over the last years, so they will certainly be happy to welcome you.
There's always the Anno Union.
In the Anno world, exactly. So this is what's happening until release. Is there like any burning questions from chat that we should touch on? Because we got a little bit of time. If there's anything we totally missed, and there's that one big open question. We mentioned the release date, so this can't be open anymore.
We mentioned the release date, March 16th. Mark it in your calendars. And also the pre-order will start right after the stream.
The mood is good, yeah?
The mood in general is good.
Wonderful.
People are asking about the FPS, so it will be available in 30 FPS. I guess.
Right. If
we
they're happy and don't have any like questions, we're like, oh my god, we should totally mention that. Then I guess we're good for today,
Yeah.
and can move on with like obviously more information in the coming weeks. And we got one more thing.
Do we have one? Yeah, we have one. Very good.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you so much for watching, for tuning in today, for the reveal of the Anno 1800 Console Edition. And at the end, of course, we have a trailer to celebrate the Console Edition, our reveal trailer. And I really do hope that you enjoyed it very much. Thank you so much for your support. And
Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and until next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
bye-bye.
Home. What is home? It calls you. Let it draw you in. No safer harbor in a storm. Close the door, and deep within, you know it's gonna be okay. 'Cause there are sails on the horizon. A ship to take you far away. Where good things grow, new worlds await. Where dreams take shape, we are the architects of fate. She has ambition. He has a vision. But no matter what's your mission, once you lay that first foundation, nothing's out of reach. Rising up from the ashes of industry, following in the footsteps of pioneers, ours is a tale of humanity, of great inventions, endless exploration. Of centuries that mark the rise of nations, setting out to build great cities that will truly be our own, knowing that in this adventure, all roads lead to home.